Hello and welcome back to She's in Focus, the podcast dedicated to inspiring and empowering female filmmakers and videographers from all walks of life and on every step of their creative journey. I'm your host, Kel Grant, an aspiring filmmaker from New Jersey who's just trying to turn my passion into something more and connect with amazing women who have the same passion for video. One of those being Meg Igarashi, a freelance filmmaker and YouTuber who has quite an interesting filmmaking origin story that really began with an internship. On Meg's YouTube channel, you can find short films, vlogs, music and dance videos, and much more. Calling in all the way from Tokyo to walk us through her journey. Meg, thank you so much for being here.
Yay! Thank you so much, Kel. It's an honor to be here, and I'm so excited to be on the podcast.
Perfect. We're so excited to have you. So it is 9 p.m. here in New Jersey, but it is morning over there in Tokyo.
Yeah,
and
10
I it's 10 a.m. over there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. So I want you to tell us how you ended up in Japan all the way over there, because I understood you lived in the States for quite some time, and your location that defines a lot of what you do and the type of work that you do over there. So if you could just tell us how you ended up over there, that'd be great.
Awesome. I was born in Massachusetts, and I lived in like Quincy, Billerica, Abington, Beverly. So I moved around in Massachusetts, and then I moved to Tokyo when I was around 14 years old. And the reason I came wasn't so happy, but like I just had like my parents were kind of going through a separation, and then like my dad didn't really want to pay for like the rent and stuff because I guess he was like overworked. So like me and my mom kind of got kicked out of home, and then we had to move to Tokyo forcefully. And at the time, I really wasn't happy about it because I was like a teenager and I thought my life was over, and I was like, my friends are everything and school is so fun, and I couldn't speak Japanese at all. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to a country that I don't speak the language of. And I'm like, whoa, there's like, I think I grew up around like, I guess a lot of more like, I don't know, like white people, I guess. And then when I came to Japan, I was like, oh my gosh, like so many Asians, and they think I can speak Japanese because I look Japanese and I have a Japanese name. And I'm like, oh my gosh, people just think I'm a dumb Japanese person. So I was like kind of afraid to like leave the house because I couldn't really understand, and like talking to people was scary. Not because I don't want to talk to people, just because I couldn't speak the language. But then, yeah, should I keep going? Like,
yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then, as soon as I started school, I guess it got better. And like, I guess the motivation for learning Japanese wasn't like, I want to study hard, but like, I want to make friends. So I think speaking Japanese became not too hard in the sense where I was just like practicing all the time, trying to speak to my classmates or friends. And at the time, apparently they couldn't really understand me, but I was just like speaking any Japanese I know, and I think they were just so nice that they never really told me like, I can't understand you, Meg. They just like tried to figure out, because like later on, like years passed, like so many years have passed, and like my friends have been like, I actually couldn't really understand you at that time. So I'm like, what?
Well, I guess that's kind of nice of them to not like point it out, but I wonder how much they missed.
Yeah, I'm like, what are all the conversations that you guys were like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you guys are totally understanding me. So yeah, I don't know from what point to what point I was able to like have real conversations with people, but that's kind of how I learned Japanese. And I went to like a Japanese school for a while. This gets kind of confusing, but I went to a Japanese school for a while, and I couldn't understand anything, and they didn't really teach me anything. So I wasn't learning Japanese period for like a few years.
Wow.
And I think because I wasn't learning anything in school, that's how I got into video, because I just had time. Well, not like, I guess I just wasn't working hard at school, and I thought I would go back to the States. So I was kind of in like a dramatic, like, why even bother? I don't like my life here. I don't want to stay here. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I got into video too. And when I was in the States, kind of going back and forth, when I was in the States, I did a lot of theater, musical theater. And I like to like entertain people. I also got into like a little bit of acting, and I guess that's like one of the career paths that I was like, I guess, aiming for when I was a kid. And then moving to Japan and like making videos was like something that was like kind of like that in a sense, kind of like musical theater, kind of like acting. And I did a little bit of musical theater in Japan, but just it's really hard to do theater because you have to do it to their schedule, and you can't really have your own life in a sense. Like, you just have to go to the rehearsals that they ask you to do, and it's hard to like do part-time jobs when there's like a set schedule for them. And I just realized like it's really hard to do, and I'm not making any money from it, and I need to start making money. So I guess like making videos was that like really awesome thing where I could still be creative, I could still act, I could do my own thing at my own time. So it just seemed like the perfect new hobby that I was able to grow in school when I wasn't really studying.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a way to have that creative outlet, because when you moved, I mean, not only was I'm sure you were going through a bunch of stuff with your home situation, but then you're thrust into this new environment. You're feeling kind of like an outcast because you're not really speaking the language, although you're trying. And, you're around that time that you're entering high school. Did you start high school back in the States and then had to transfer to a high school of some sort in Japan?
Yeah, I think I started like Japan and the States have like different school system. So I think freshman in the States is still like middle school third year in Japan. So I started from middle school third year in Japan.
Okay. So you had to, I mean, moving during any time in your school in your education, at any time is a challenge. So in a new country, in a new environment, I could imagine you were kind of just looking for that, I guess, a bit of familiarity. And I guess hopefully video was able to do that for you, because it was part of the arts that you were so accustomed to with musical theater and with acting.
Yeah, it was just so much fun. I remember like watching like YouTubers, and I'd be like, I want to be just like you guys, or like create content that just is fun.
Right. And you ended up being just like them anyway, because you started your own YouTube channel. But that was a few years after that, I'd imagine, because when I was looking at your YouTube channel, I scrolled all the way back to the first video, and I found that was recorded when you were 18. But were you publishing content or doing any YouTube style videos before that?
I actually had my first channel before that. So that was like, I've made so many channels because I'm very indecisive and I don't know what I'm doing. But I had like my first channel that was called The Meg I Show, and I made that when I was, I think, 15 years old. And then
awesome.
And then I started, like, the copyright thing started happening, so then I started making like a music video channel and a vlog channel, and like trying to separate all the content. And I haven't deleted the channel, so I think all the channels are somewhere, and I'm hoping to find them and maybe delete the content, because the content's super random. But then I think
that's so funny.
Yeah, like a few years later, I was like, I want to make another channel where I put everything on the same channel and make better content, or like change it up a little bit. And then I started a channel called Meg is a Pokemon, which has now become my name, Meg Igarashi.
Yes, I saw that. So what was the difference between, I guess, starting this channel that you currently have and the ones that you were making when you were a bit younger? Like, what was that kind of mental shift? Did you start taking it, in a sense, like more seriously when you were 18 and you started this Meg is a Pokemon channel?
I guess I was a bit, I mean, I don't know if I can say mature, but maybe in my head I thought I was a little bit more mature. And then looking back at the content I made when I was like 15, I was like really spazzy, really loud, and I'm like, wow, I can't do that anymore. Like, watching that now, I'm like, wow, I really can't do that anymore. But I think even at 18, I was like, this isn't me anymore, and I wanted to make a new channel. And I think I was getting more serious into filmmaking or making videos. Like, I wanted to do more in some kind of way. Not really sure. I don't think I was like really aiming to be a filmmaker at that time, but I just knew I really loved making videos, and if I could do any jobs making videos, I thought that would be great. And I just wanted to make more videos that I wanted to make and not just like just really random content, which was
right. Having more of a little bit more of a strategy to it, I guess.
Yeah.
So what would you say your skill level was when you started this Meg is a Pokemon channel? Because I was watching the video and like you had the cut, like the comedic timing down, you had some graphics there, so you had some basic like fundamental skills.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because it was a while ago, and I'm 27 now, so this is like a long time ago. But
right.
What was it? I think in 2015 I only used iMovie 09, and then I think maybe from 2018 I might have already invested in Final Cut Pro, so maybe I started like getting more serious into it. But I haven't. Right. Yeah, I didn't get into like really professional software yet, but that's what I'm thinking. Just like trying to do a little bit more. But,
right.
Yeah, I guess like you get better at videos because you just like make a ton. And I think when I was 18, I already probably made, I'm guessing probably more than like 300 videos at that time already. Just for fun. Like it's not like all like polished videos, but I think I just made videos all the time. So I'm sure I made like a ton of videos by that time, even though I never had any professional training. And I think even at that time, I wasn't really trying to like grow. So I don't think I looked at tutorials and stuff. I think I was just like edit just for fun. And then I think that kind of made me better.
Of course, yeah, just kind of figuring it out as you were going. But I guess there came a point when you were like, okay, I want to do this a little bit more seriously and gain some filmmaking skills. So enter the internship. That because for a while I believe your name was Meg the Intern. Were you going by that? Because I saw that somewhere and I can't remember where.
It's probably my email.
Right, exactly, that's it. So you get this internship. So just tell us about that, because I believe you were how old at the time? 19?
19, spot on.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get that?
So I found the video internship for video production on Craigslist, and I actually applied, but when I sent in my resume, they told me, oh, do you want to be a video host? Because I had so much acting experience and I didn't have any video editing or video production experience professionally. And I only had my YouTube videos. That was the only thing I could really show. So I said, sure, I'll apply to be a video host. And then I sent in my video. They wanted me to come in for an interview. I went in for an interview, and then they tested my Japanese because it was for a Japanese host. And then they're like, oh, her Japanese level isn't high enough to be teaching Japanese, because that would be my role. Like, teaching Japanese in English would be the role. So obviously I had the English down, but teaching Japanese is not something I could have done. But they still took me as a video production intern.
Oh, wow. So it ended up working out for you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I got the job I applied for, but they interviewed me to become something else. But I think after meeting me and after knowing that I'm interested in making videos, I guess they were like, yeah, you can still join. I don't know how, but I'm glad somehow I was able to get in. But yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the videos that you were creating for your internship.
Yeah, we made lots of different videos. I think when I first joined, we made videos about different holidays from all around the world. We had so many languages that we made videos about. And then as I kept working there, we started making like top 10 phrases, or like top 10 travel phrases, top 10 ways to say hello, like totally like lots of different things. There was like a 3-minute series of like introducing the language, or like saying your like how to greet someone, how to talk about your age, like lots of different topics. And we made videos about a lot of videos about language and culture.
That's awesome. Did you learn a lot on the job, both in your video production skills, but also your Japanese?
Japanese No, not really. Because I think in the beginning, I was like, I'm going to learn Swahili. I'm going to learn French. Like all these like cool languages that I would be making videos about. But I think as you make videos, you just need to kind of finish the job. And I think you just kind of get used to it that I'm like, I can't be like really like getting all the content, like really learning everything and getting everything finished as fast as I can. But I wanted to learn. I mean, I'm sure I've learned some things, but not as much as I wish I learned. And also for editing or like video production, I definitely learned a lot on the job. It was my first time to use Premiere Pro and After Effects. After Effects was so overwhelming because they didn't really teach me anything. The company didn't really teach me. They just threw you in there. Yeah, I think it was more of like, here's the project and figure out how to do it less and not so much training because it was also a pretty quiet office, so it wasn't really like everyone's like loud and training you. It's more kind of like everyone's sitting at their desk with their headphones on and just like clicking away. Although it was an American company and everyone was really nice, but it wasn't really like, like there was never like a training period really. It was just kind of like do it. Right. So After Effects was so hard for me at the beginning, really, really overwhelming. And I was like pre-comps, I was like, where did it go? Like, what does this mean? And,
seriously. Yeah. I avoid After Effects if I can, like the plague, because it is just someone who has if you don't have like the proper mentor or guidance, because I'll look up YouTube videos about certain things to do in After Effects. I'm usually able to follow it when someone walks me through it. But if I were to just open up the program, I would not even know where to begin.
I remember we had like lots of tasks where we had to prep a project because I wasn't really doing the full motion graphics in AE, and I would be the one that's like prepping the project for the next person to do the full animation. But even that, I was like, how did it move like one per frame over? And then like, because it just moved one frame, I'm like, everything's off timing and I don't know how to fix it. And I think I didn't know so many shortcuts at that time either, so everything would be like, I'm trying to fix it like manually. Right. And yeah, it was a mess. And also Premiere Pro was like a little bit hard at the beginning, but I think Premiere Pro was much easier for me and more like Final Cut Pro or more like iMovie 09, where as long as I know how to cut, like I can still do my job. Where like After Effects, I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? But yeah. Yeah,
totally. So you gained some technical skills, no matter how challenging it may have been in video production. So did this internship solidify your passion for filmmaking and creating videos? Did you find that it added to it?
Yeah. I mean, I think just making the YouTube videos for fun was how I found my passion for making videos. I was like, wow, this is so much fun, and you can make ideas come to life, and you can do whatever you want, and like be whoever you want. And I just really enjoyed it. And I think that was like the first base of like, wow, this is something I want to keep doing. And then I think working at a company and doing it, I'm like, whoa, I could actually make money out of doing something I love. So I guess that was like the next step of like getting more confident and like realizing that I could actually make a career out of this than just doing it solely for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So after your internship, did this experience and position kind of open up any other opportunities?
I mean, after, I think in less than a year, I became a full-time at the company. So that led to like an actual job, which was awesome. And I also got paid as an intern, which was also a great part-time job to have. But yeah, I think that led to a career, and I was a full-timer at the company for a few years, and then after that I became a freelancer, and I still worked for the company as a freelancer, but also started doing other jobs.
Right. So take us through, so you finished this internship experience, and it sounds like it was kind of really a jumping off point for you stepping into the professional world of video production and filmmaking. So tell us about your freelancing endeavors. Did you, when you first set out to freelance, did you kind of launch your own company? How did you go about that?
I think I just like was kind of getting bored at the company I was working at, and the tasks became quite repetitive. So I was just like, I want to become a freelancer. And I didn't really have so much planned. But I think at that time, even when I was already a full-timer, I was already slowly starting to do freelance jobs. And I don't think my company was against it at all. And then I guess like, yeah, little by little, I did more and more freelance jobs. But I think at the beginning, I didn't start a company or anything. I still don't have a company. But I just had I just had some clients already, and then I was still working for the company that I was working for, so it was kind of already like I always had like a crutch where like it's like even if I don't have freelance jobs, I could actually work at this company with very flexible hours. And I think at one point they were just like, you can work as many hours as you want at that company. I'm like, that's amazing. And like I would just be paid for what I worked in. That's it. And like if I want to do another job, I could do another job. And I thought that was like the best thing, where I'm like, oh, I don't have to be worried about like not getting jobs, and still I can have the flexibility to do all the jobs I want. So I was really happy with that.
Yeah, it sounds like the best of both worlds with that situation. So did clients at this point find you from your YouTube channels, or how were they finding you? Did you have a website up, or were you actively seeking clients?
I think a lot of it was just connections, which is like, I know not very helpful for other filmmakers, and I don't really want to say like connections or everything, but yeah, I think a lot of my friends were just like, oh, you want to do this job? And like and when I say connections, they could literally be anything. I know I did get a job from my YouTube channel. Like I remember, so there's like a pretty famous YouTuber in Japan, and I was like tweeting her like, I want to make a video like this. Can I kind of get the idea? Like, can I kind of copy the idea and like, of course, like credit them, but I just wanted the permission to kind of do their idea, because it would be kind of ripping off their concept, and I don't want to have like bad blood with any kind of YouTuber, especially if it was someone that I looked up to. So I tweeted her and was just like, can I do this idea too? Because like I thought it's something I could do. But she was like, yeah, sure, of course you can do that, you don't have to ask me. And then after that, she actually like private messaged me and was like, do you want to work with me? So I was like, whoa,
of course.
And then and then after that I worked with her a little bit, and then from her connection I worked with like some other YouTubers in that company a bit. And then there was like another time where I was like filming a dance video for a friend, and when I was filming the dance video, a random guy walked up to me and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm just filming a dance video. And he's like, I actually make videos for a living, like give me your email and let me see your work. And then that actually led to like a bunch of jobs as well. And then there's like another job where it's just like I was just helping out my friend, but then like one of the people that was involved in that shoot was like, oh, I actually have a friend that needs a video editor, do you want to work with them? And then we got connected and I started working with him. But just like, yeah, like connection, like just connections from anything, not like like, oh, I'm in the filmmaking group, where like it's just like, yeah, you can get connected in any way and just make friends in any way. And then the more people you meet, the more opportunities I think you get.
Yeah, that's actually, that rings so true, because whenever I meet anybody new and they ask me like what I do for a living, and I end up telling them that I do like videography on the side, they always know somebody who, or it's themselves, who can utilize that skill or needs that service. And so they always keep you kind of top of mind. So that's definitely how it can benefit you for your business too, as well.
And I did a lot of wedding videos for friends when I was younger too. Like
really?
Like I used to go to church, and I still am a Christian and stuff, but when I went to church, like people got married so much, and I would be doing so many weddings, and I was so busy. But it was a good experience. I was like, wow, we have like 3 weddings this month, and I'm like, I'm so busy.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you were getting paid for those, because I know sometimes when we do projects for friends or family, they want it on the
I didn't really
low.
get paid. But I learned.
Next time.
I think like I used to do lots of free projects when I was like younger, and I think that was good for me because I wasn't really a professional at that time. But I think not like the more the less time I have and the busier I have gotten, the more I'm like, oh, I need to learn to say no, or like negotiate, or like figure out what I want to do, because I don't want to just be wasting my time doing projects that aren't necessarily passionate about. And I think I've gotten much better with that. And I even have told my friends that have started freelancing, like, this is what you need to do, because you don't want people to take advantage of you. So I've gotten much better at it.
That's great to hear. That's what a lot of even a lot of guests that come on the show have talked about before, that they have trouble kind of setting their own boundaries for their company too, and knowing your worth and knowing when to charge someone and how much to charge. Because right now I'm just kind of starting out on my filmmaking journey, and I'm doing the free to fee method for a few different projects that I'm working on. But I'm doing that in order to kind of gain the experience, add to my reel, see how a shoot goes, learn the ins and the outs. And then I know after that experience, I then have something to I have some work to show, and I can kind of start at the lower ranks of payment and move on up. But I think it's actually beneficial for everybody to start doing things for free, because it really takes the pressure off of the project and off of yourself as the filmmaker.
For sure. If I did wedding videos from the beginning as paid projects, I think I would be so nervous. Yeah, so I'm glad I did a bunch of free ones, because I'm just like, let me just do my thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Have fun with it for sure.
Yeah. How did you what was the big inspiration for you to start making videos, if I can ask?
That was so kind. No one's ever asked me that. That's so funny. Kind of caught me off guard. The big inspiration for me, so it's funny. I think I started in front of the camera a lot. I've been a public speaker for a long time. I did it as a kid a lot, because I don't know if you've heard of 4-H. Have you heard of that? They're like agricultural clubs. I grew up on a farm. We had a farm with
cool.
like alpacas and goats and chickens.
I love alpacas. Oh my gosh. I've been to like an alpaca farm with only alpacas. That's like the level of alpacas I love. Yeah.
Yeah, we had 2 alpaca farms in our family. So that was like the main thing that we had. But I would always, the 4-H clubs would require you to learn a lot about the animals and then present it to the public by way of, fairs that would happen, county fairs and presentations and competitions and things like that. So I always loved kind of commanding a room and being in front of the room and doing the research and then being able to relay that information. And then when I got to high school, I went to a high school that had a television and a radio program. So I ended up kind of naturally gravitating towards that. But I also did some theater too, because as that I think that's kind of where a lot of us, I feel like, have started. And then I realized like, oh, okay, I have more like creative control if I am in behind the camera instead of in front of the camera. So that's kind of where that shift happened. But I actually started as a radio host for a country music radio station.
Whoa! And now you have your own podcast. I was a radio DJ.
That's so, full circle moment here. So yeah, that started, I did that for 4 years all through high school. And then I chose when I went off to college, I chose a television and radio program. And then I switched to filmmaking and video production. But I think the thing that really attracted me to it is because I've always been fascinated with commercials growing up too. I loved the idea of commanding someone's attention and being able to kind of persuade them, because there was that kind of public speaking aspect to it too. Persuade them in a matter of 30 seconds or less. It was something that was so captivating. And then of course with the invention and the ever-growing popularity of social media, that's all we have. And it's even less than 30 seconds now. It's 5 seconds. It's, 15 seconds. Yeah. So I'm fascinated with that. So I started to, when I went to college, I actually was doing kind of studio production, news anchoring, things like that. It wasn't until I graduated college where I started DSLR filmmaking and just, being kind of a one-woman show, taking my DSLR camera that I have out, filming something, editing on Premiere Pro, packaging it all up, putting it on my YouTube channel, putting it on my social media. So kind of being a self-sufficient creator was not something I learned with my formal education, but was something I kind of had to figure out on my own. But that's what I'm hearing a lot about. It's kind of a common thread with a lot of creators is just, one day getting the inspiration to pick up your camera, go out and create and realize like you have a real passion for this and you can keep doing this and there's money to be made with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for asking. That was like the highlight of my day. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I kind of explained that my dream projects are those like short 30-second or less kind of promo style content, whatever style video. What would you say your dream project to work on would be?
Ooh, good question. I really like music videos because I get inspired by music all the time. And sometimes, I think a lot of filmmakers probably do this, but when they're like listening to a song, you like imagine the music video in your head. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I can make music videos to my favorite songs, that would be so much fun because I'm already imagining them anyways and just being like, this is so cool. But I also really want to do travel filmmaking. And I don't think I do enough I haven't really tried to do enough of it, but yeah, I think I love to travel, and I know so many people love to travel, but I guess if I could do that while making videos, I'm like, that's the dream, where I could travel for free and just make films and tell stories about locals and learn about the culture and eat the food. I'm like, wow, that sounds like vacation as your job. But I know it's a lot of work, but I also love to like document my trips. And when I go to different places, I always love to make videos about it. Because it's actually more for me, where I'm like, wow, I can look back on my trips and it's just like so much fun and I can just relive the moments again. And it's been especially good when it's been during COVID, where I'm like, wow, I can't travel at all. And I look back, or I edit one of the old videos where I'm like, wow, it was so much fun. And I can like relive it again and really remember what I did. Because I think a lot of it is like when you go somewhere, you get so busy and you can't remember like everything you did. I think you can remember like a few highlights, I think, but it's hard to remember everything. But I realize like when I document it, I'm not like trying to like document everything to make it look good. It's more just like I'm just documenting a few things to just remember it. So I don't know. It's just like, it's always just a fun thing for me. And I do want to do it more professionally too, where I'm like really thinking about the shots and like getting cooler shots if I can do it as a job, obviously. But yeah, I've just been doing it for fun, and I usually do it with friends that aren't filmmakers. So a lot of times I'm just kind of like shot here, but it's not like I'm taking my time. But I just, like traveling and filmmaking are like two of my biggest passions. So I'm like, if I could combine those, I would love that. And I also want to do more like short films and film, like just like films in general. And I also love Pixar. So I'm like, if I could work with Pixar someday, that would be the best. But yeah, that's like a bunch of things that I would love to do in the future.
Well, let's talk about like the practicality of travel filmmaking. How does one, I have to get somebody on the podcast who's actually done it, because whenever I think about like how you actually get into something like that, like who was it? Parker Wallback ended up working for Devon Supertramp and was able to travel all over the world and do stuff like that, creating videos for his YouTube channel and going on these incredible adventures. Now he gets paid to do that just with his own company. But, you know, for the everyday person like you and me, finding, you know, opportunities to be able to travel like that, because that's the other thing, like all expense paid travel, sign me up. Being able to take my camera and document not only my personal, you know, for my personal collection, but also for a company or for a mission or something, that's awesome. And I'm going to have to try to track. If you guys are listening to this and you have any female travel videographers, please hit me up and let us know, because that's something that I think a lot of people aspire to do, but they just don't know how to get started.
Yeah. I mean, I have like a guy friend that is kind of like a travel filmmaker, but I think from knowing him and how he got started was he actually just like went on a trip with his friends that are like filmmakers as well, or video creators as well, and they just really like documented their trip the way they wanted to show it. And I think that's like, now I have something that I can show people what I'm capable of, and I think that's like a lot for like a lot of jobs where like you just build your portfolio through your passion projects, and then they slowly become for work, because you already made those projects before, and now clients can kind of rely on what you can make. But that's at least for him, I think, where like he just was really good at it, doing it for fun, and now he's doing it more professionally.
Yeah, that's awesome too, and that's it becomes a little bit harder to balance the whole passion project thing if you're a full-time creator or if you're a full-time freelancer, because like you were saying before, when you had that kind of steady, reliable gig where you could work as many hours as you want, you didn't necessarily have to worry about money if you wanted to go and shoot a bunch of passion projects. And I'm in the same boat. I have a full-time job at a tech company, so that's my day job, and I just get to make videos for fun on the side, which is why I always say I will never go full-time, because the pressure I'd imagine that might come with, I think might take the passion away from me for a little bit.
Full-time freelance?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you technically full-time freelance at the moment?
Right now, I'm actually full-time for another company, a furniture company called Koala. It's like an Australian mattress company, but I make videos for them. And I was freelancing for them, but they somehow convinced me to be full-time for them. So right now I'm doing full-time and freelance. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And do you like that balance again, just like you had that other gig before?
I love to do freelance because you can do so many different jobs, and you can be a little bit more selective of the jobs you do, especially if you are doing a full-time job and you're not really doing it for money. So
right.
I understand why you wouldn't do full-time freelance, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, I don't have any time to do my own projects because I'm so busy with full-time and freelance. So I'm like, oh my gosh, passion projects. I'm like, why am I think when I was younger, I was like, I'm never gonna, like, I work to do my own passion projects. So, and now I'm like, whoa, if I don't have time to do my own passion projects, what am I even doing? So I'm kind of in that stage where I'm like trying to figure out the best balance for me. But it's hard because I really enjoy freelance. And then my full-time job, too. I enjoy it, and I'm still learning from them. So it's kind of like, what do I want to do? But yeah.
Right. And we're still young, we have a bunch of time to figure it out. But that's the thing. I think one of the biggest guides that I have for my life and my career is just if I'm getting bored or if I'm no longer learning something new, it's not the opportunity for me, or I need to move on from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So aside from, working your full-time job and trying to find time for passion projects and freelance, you're also continuing with your YouTube channel. Is that correct?
That is true, but I haven't been posting so much recently, so I can't really say that, but yes.
Because I was going to say, if you don't have time for any of this other stuff, I can't imagine cranking out YouTube videos.
Yeah. I still do passion projects, but I haven't really been able to do YouTube recently because I've been trying to also make songs and do some other stuff for the songs. But I'm still super passionate about making my own YouTube videos. Just it's been pretty hectic recently, and I started doing full-time in March, so that's also kind of the time I stop making YouTube videos, just because I've been packed with freelance jobs as well.
Right. But let's talk about your YouTube journey a little bit there. So what would you say the biggest challenges that you face being a YouTube creator?
Ooh, my biggest challenge is finding a niche, because I don't like having a niche, because I just like making what I like to make. And I think that's how I started making videos to begin with. Like, I just made videos that I wanted to make, and I never really did it with a strategy. And I still don't make it with a strategy, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but I guess YouTube has always been one of those things I just did for fun and never something that I was really pursuing as a career, and I think that's why I enjoy it. But at the same time, I'm like, if I could make money from YouTube or do like travel filmmaking as a job, that would be amazing. So it's kind of like a dilemma where I'm like, should I really like niche down on my YouTube channel, or should I just keep doing whatever I feel like making? Because I think that's also like the beauty of like doing things for fun, just like doing whatever you want to make and not worrying about the money, and having another job where you can just make money and like do something. Like, I'm still like making videos, so I'm still enjoying my job, but then like YouTube can literally be anything, where if YouTube was your job, you would have to be kind of more selective. I think like you would have to be thinking about views, you would have to be thinking about what's gonna do good or what's trending a little bit more. And I know like do you follow Sarah Dici?
Yes.
Oh, so
Rhymes with
I know
Peachy.
Yeah, I love her videos, and I know that she says like one for me, one for them. Have you heard that from her? But so I think I'm like, oh, maybe I should do that more. But I guess like, yeah, my biggest challenge for me on YouTube is to like whether to like niche down or not. I guess that's like, yeah, and to be consistent. Being consistent is so hard, and like, yeah, I'm always like, I'm gonna do it once a week, but I'm like, oh my gosh, if I did it once a week, I don't think I'm gonna sleep. So
I feel you.
It's hard.
I feel you on
if
that.
I wasn't doing freelance, I think this could be something that is possible, but just like right now, I'm like, when I get too many freelance jobs, it's like full-time job, freelance job, and like hanging out with friends, or like just like having a life outside of work, I think is good too. So
yeah,
yeah,
all while trying to just be a functioning human.
Yeah, like sometimes you just like need to like clean your room or like do really like mundane tasks. So I think
or do absolutely nothing, which is
what
I like to do.
Sometimes I'm just so tired that I'm like, I want to get so many things done, but I'm like, I just can't do it.
I totally feel you. So with your YouTube channel, so you have your personal channel, and you've had a million personal channels over the years, but you've also been, like I said, creating professional YouTube videos that end up on YouTube for other companies. So have you learned anything about, I guess, what makes a video go viral, or any kind of tricks of the trade you can share with our listeners today about successful content on YouTube?
I mean, I think like, yeah, I know strategies, but I don't know if sometimes they don't really work, and I don't know the ingredients for a viral video because it's really hard. Like some things just go viral and you don't know why they went viral. And I've made viral videos before where I'm like, wow, this got like more than 1 million views. And that's like a lot for the channel. And I'm like, I have no idea how it got there. But I do know that working with YouTubers as well, working for people that are full-time YouTubers, they work really hard on the thumbnail. Like that's something that they work really hard on. They also like, I know that you have to work really hard at the beginning of the video. You need to like catch the audience, and the audience retention is huge, where like maybe you make the first 3 seconds really interesting, but if they stop watching it, then your video won't be recommended. Like the audience retention is very important. So you just have to make a good video. That's like the most important thing. Like just make like good content. And I think content has to be, whether it has to be entertaining or it has to be like informative, but yeah. So like maybe you want to make something for you, but if it's not going to be helpful in any way for them, they're probably not going to watch it all the way through. But yeah, just working for YouTubers, I think people work really hard on the thumbnail. I think they also work hard on the title as well. And then just making good videos is probably a big thing. And then yeah, like capturing the audience is also really huge. Where like I know for ads, at least, because I make a lot of ads. When you make ads on YouTube or like Facebook and stuff, the first 3 seconds or even less is huge. So if you don't make it interesting then they're not going to watch the rest of the ad. Where I think a YouTube video, if they clicked on it, they're probably already interested in the topic. But I think what's really important is to really actually talk about the topic. Like if you have a title of video that's like how to make a smoothie, for example, and then you only talk about it for like 10 seconds of the video, they're not going to be happy. So don't lie. Like maybe you want to make a clickbait title or clickbait thumbnail, but if you're like cheating your audience, then you can't gain their trust. And ultimately they probably won't subscribe. So I think it's more important to be real with your audience and make titles and thumbnails that relate to the actual video, where you can gain trust with them. And then once they do click on your video, it's like, oh, I want to watch more of their videos because it's more of what I'm interested in and not like clickbait titles, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that trust is actually a huge part of watching content on YouTube and actually subscribing to these YouTubers, because thinking about my own personal experience, I watch a lot of YouTube content. I'd have it kind of running in the background all day while I'm working. And yeah, any clickbait kind of titles or anything like that, like I'm not interested, and I'll just unsubscribe. Like I have no shame in that. It's like sometimes I'll have an attachment to certain creators to where they'll do something like that, and I'm like, why'd you do that? I'm still gonna follow you. I'm still gonna subscribe, but don't play with my emotions like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. But that's I think with everything. That's on every social media platform too. It's just kind of building a rapport with your audience, and so they know what content to expect from you too. And that's just, I think, all part of the strategy.
And for sure, I think like also one thing I've learned out of making my own videos is like you don't know what is a good. I mean, I don't know what is a good video. So sometimes like videos where I'm like, this is like okay, and I like post it because I worked hard on it, and then I'm like, wow, it did like better than like a ton of my other videos that I thought would do better. So like,
right,
things can surprise you. So just like, I think if you are consistent on YouTube, just like keep uploading, and I think it'll be interesting to know what does well and what doesn't do well, because sometimes it might be exactly the opposite of what you actually thought.
Yeah. It's almost like do some experimenting, if you will.
Yeah. That's something I need to do more of for sure. Experimenting and like seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and just testing different things. Because that's not something I've been very good at.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, what would you say is the most rewarding part about having a YouTube channel for you?
Ooh, I think the most rewarding is just connecting to people and having like, I don't know, like emails saying like, oh, like this really helped me, or like I do try to make videos that can relate to people or help people in a positive way, because I do want to make videos about like be yourself, do what you love, and just like help people be more positive, or just like share good vibes on the internet. So when people say like, oh, like this helped me, or like this made my day, or like just like those, like it could be a little comment or more like a longer email, but like those comments make my day, and I'm like, oh, like this is why I want to make more videos, to just like make people happy and like connect with people. And sometimes I share like more serious stuff on the internet. Like I try not to make it like a negative video, but sometimes I share honestly of like my past and stuff. And when people say like, oh, this is actually my story where I've had something similar happen to me, I'm like, whoa, like this. Wow. Yeah, those things are really touching, and it's like crazy to know like how many people have gone through the same experience as you, when you feel like you felt so alone during that time. So I think it's like good for them to know that they're not alone, and it's also like good for me to know that I'm not alone. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's building community. And also I always say like with my videos, because I've tried the whole YouTube thing. I fell off it a little bit, but I'm kind of deciding whether I want to continue with it or not. But there've been content. You know what, I will, and I'll credit you for the inspiration and the motivation to get back into it. But there's been videos that I post on my Instagram that someone will message me about, and even if it's just one person, like they don't even necessarily have to have such a deep connection to it, but the fact that somebody saw my content and for whatever reason felt a need to reach out and either just tell me, hey, like this was a great one, or share something personal, like that community building, I think, and that connection, like you were saying, is so powerful. Yeah, like it gives me like huge. a shot of dopamine. Like I'm just on top of the world whenever I get a message like that.
Yeah, I think it's all about, like, for me, it's all about connection. And if I can connect people or tell stories that can impact people in a positive way, I'm like, then it's like totally worth it. Even if it's just like one person that's like, wow, that like really touched me. I'm like, oh, then I made it for you.
Yes, exactly. And I find it so touching, because I know for me, in order for me to comment on somebody's content, or like it really does have to impact me. So I was like, wow, like if I remember the feelings that I have when I'm impacted by content, and they're giving this to me, it's just such a gift.
Yeah, for sure.
So we are wrapping up the interview here, Meg. Can you tell us about any exciting projects that you have coming up?
I'm currently working on my own music video for a song I made called Jibun Rashiku, which means be yourself in Japanese. And I think Adobe is sponsoring it with the Adobe Creative Residency project. If you have not done it, Kel, you should definitely apply, because it's really cool. But yeah, I think that will happen in the next month, because it's due end of this month. And then I'm also helping out with my friend's short film as the videographer. And do I have any other projects going on? Oh, I also won a short film contest for best musical pitch recently. So I will be working with, I will be working with sponsors to make my short film in the future.
That's amazing, Meg. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. That's really exciting. So cool. I'm like, wow, I never really won an award before. So I'm like, this is really cool.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so validating too.
Yeah.
Definitely. So where can we find you on the internet, on the interwebs?
On Instagram, I'm at Meg Igarashi, MEGIGARASHI. That is my name. And then on YouTube too, you can just find me at Meg Igarashi, MEG space IGARASHI, my name again. And I think on Twitter too, it's just at Meg Igarashi. Yeah, is that it? I think that's basically all my handles. So
yeah, we'll put them all in the description box.
It's all my name, so look them up, my name, and I think you'll be able to find me, hopefully, unless there's a lot of me. Not sure.
Right. We'll find out. So, what is one thing about your story that you want people listening to this podcast to remember or to take away? Any piece of advice, anything that comes to mind?
I have a couple, I think, but the first one would just be do what you love and just do what you enjoy, because you don't know what can come out of it. So if you find something that you really love doing, just keep working hard at it, because that could end up being your career and you never know unless you just keep trying. So I would say if you find something you love, just keep doing it, and keep doing it because you love it. Not you want to do a job out of it, but if you just keep getting better at it, it could end up being your job. So I think it's so important to just follow your passions and just do them for fun and do what you love and just get better at it. And then another one would be it's I guess all kind of the same, but just to try. If there's a contest or you want to make a YouTube channel, I think it's just go for it. You don't have to have the best gear. You don't have to be super prepared. I don't think you'll ever get to a place where you're gonna be 100% prepared to do anything. So just try and see how it goes. And you can be bad at the beginning. I really sucked at making videos at the beginning, so you don't have to be good at making videos to make videos, because you'll get good at making videos as long as you just keep making them. So yeah. I think just always try and always do what you love.
I love that. That's a perfect message and a perfect way to end the podcast today. So my final question for you, Meg, is how can the viewers and listeners of this podcast support you as a filmmaker?
Maybe just check out my YouTube channel.
Comment, subscribe.
I don't know. I guess yeah. And wait, just support me personally, right?
Yeah.
Or just somewhere. Yeah, I guess, yeah. If you can just check out my YouTube channel, or just and maybe just comment on one of them and say hi and let me know what you think. It can be good or bad. You can give me constructive criticism as well. I'm happy to take it. So yeah, if you can just look me up on YouTube and check out a video, I would be really happy.
Awesome. So we know where to find you. Meg, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was so cool to hear about your journey. It spanned the course of several years, and I feel like we got into a bunch of different topics, but it was a really, really great conversation, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I really want to learn more about your journey as well. So hopefully we can do a part 2 if I ever have a podcast, I can have you as a guest.
Absolutely. All right. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Bye.